while to show up on my phone. Usually it comes up. That Roseville has gone online.
We are absolutely there
Live.
because I see us.
So let's say hi. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on the Caribbean Edge. We definitely appreciate you joining us tonight. It's such a special night for us for so many reasons. Cheryl Ann is just sharing us for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, just to make sure that we're live on our Caribbean Edge page so everyone can tune in. So I'm going to start this show today because we can't go today without recognizing that today is September 11th, and we had those vicious attacks back in 2001. The attacks were the deadliest terrorist attacks in world history and the most devastating for an attack on U.S. soil since the Pearl Harbor attacks back in December 7th, 1941. 2,977 people were killed, including the 19 hijackers. 6,000 others were injured. Most of those who perished were civilians, except for 343 firefighters, 71 law enforcement officers who died in the World Trade Center and on the ground in New York City, and another law enforcement officer who died when United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. 55 military personnel who died at the Pentagon in Virginia. Overall, 2,605 U.S. citizens died in the attacks, 372 non-U.S. citizens, and more than 90 countries lost citizens in these attacks. As of August 2013, medical authorities concluded that 1,140 people who worked, lived, or studied in Lower Manhattan at the time of the attack have been diagnosed with cancer as a result of exposure to toxins at Ground Zero. It has been reported that over 1,400 9/11 rescue workers who responded to the scene in days and months after the attacks have since died, and at least 11 pregnancies were lost as a result of 9/11. So today's quote is, "If we've learned nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there's no time for hate." And that's from Sandy Daly, the wife of the pilot of Flight 93, Jason Dahl. So thank you, everyone, for all you did, the rescue workers, but we will never forget September 11th.
Sure. Never. Where were you when it happened, Dawn?
I was at my office with Bell South in Boca, just walking in, and we had these television screens in the lobby, and just seeing the planes going into the towers is what I'll always remember. So being able to pull up all this history and just remind everyone, so many of our children were young at this time and don't remember, but of course, sadly, it's part of our history.
What about you, Gina? Where were you?
Actually, that day I was supposed to be coming to Florida from Jamaica, returning to Florida to live. And I got a call from my travel agent that morning to say, you know, you're not going anywhere. And I was like, what do you mean? I mean, I don't want to go, but I'm going. Yeah. She says, no, turn on your television. Don't you know what's happening? And I turned on the TV only to see the second attack. Yeah, so I was in Jamaica, packed and ready to come to Florida.
Wow.
To live.
Wow.
How about you, Sharon?
I was at home, in bed, fast asleep, and I realized my phone started going off. Mind you, at this time I worked at Miami International Airport with American Airlines on my day off. My first day off in like 10 days. I had worked like 10 days straight. So I was exhausted. And it was a Jamaican friend of mine, a male friend of mine that I usually hang out with. I used to hang out with him on my days off. We used to watch football together. And he was calling me all the time. Other friends were calling me, but he was persistent. And finally I picked up the phone. I'm like, what is up with Sean? And then sure enough, he said to me, where are you? What are you doing? turn on your TV, just like that. He was like that. And I was like, what is going on? And he's like, turn on the TV. Listen, right now I just want to bawl because when I turned on that TV and saw what was going on, I was like, no way. No way. Yeah. Yeah. It was so close to home, you know, because we worked with all these people in the airline industry for so long.
Yeah. And to all the families that lost their loved ones, I mean, our heartfelt condolences, and, you know, so many brave people on that special day, or horrific day, I should say. So, had to start the show by recognizing the actual date of today, and we'll lead into introductions. So I'm Dawn Wilson. Thanks for joining us, and we welcome the lovely Gina Jarrett-Alder to the show. Alder to the show.
Thank you.
So Gina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what can I do? How long do you have? Do you
As
have
long as you wish. As long as you wish.
Let me see, what can I tell you about Gina Jarrett-Alder? I was, a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually born in Teaneck, New Jersey. When I was 5 years old, my parents decided to return to Jamaica. My father was Jamaican, my mother was from North Carolina. And so we moved back to Jamaica when I was 5, and I lived there until 2011, when I was supposed to come up on the 9th of September. I have 2 daughters, and one was here going to school, and the other one had just finished high school, and she wanted to come to college up here. So I said, well, I might as well just move back to the States, since I have both of my kids going to school up there. And so I lived all of my growing up years in Jamaica, married a Jamaican, had my 2 kids in Jamaica, that's Rain and Sky. And I lived there until I decided to move up here in September of 2011. I've done a lot of work in the hospitality field. I used to work with D&G. It's a big beverage company in Jamaica. They're bottlers of Red Stripe and Heineken and Pepsi. So I did a lot of promotions and marketing and PR work for them.
So all the Jamaicans are probably saying, you have any contacts?
Oh, listen. I used to get
it's
that.
all about contacts,
because
right?
I was the promotions manager at
wow.
D&G for many years. So I sponsored everything everybody had going on.
Right.
I sponsored it. So yeah, I get that all. I still get that. You have any contacts down there?
Thank you.
No.
You still get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
So we're going to dig deep into your life as well. And then we have the lovely
Cheryl Marshall. I'm here to ask questions. I love hearing every bit of your stories, every bit of it. So I'm here to ask.
Okay.
I think
Ask away.
the first thing I'm curious about is, because we had your girls, Rain and Sky, your young ladies, I should say, on the show. Phenomenal. Everyone loved them. One of our best episodes. So well spoken. So thank you for sharing them with us.
Thank you for having them.
Tell us about, because you were married to
Irvin Carrot Jarrett. Yeah, I never called him Carrot. I always called him Irvin. But yeah, everybody knew him as Carrot.
So for our audience that may not know who that is.
Carrot was the percussionist with Third World. He was a drummer with them.
Okay. And what's your favorite song? I know the girls told us theirs.
I know every song and every word to every song. I would have to say Fret Not Thyself is one of my favorite. And of course Always Around, which was written by Irvin, which was actually written for his son, but the band changed 2 words in one line and made that song, turned it into a love song. Instead of a father singing to his son, it became, a man singing it to a woman. But it was actually written for his son, Ard. That's also one of my favorites. So yeah, Carrot was my husband. We were together for, I think, 14 years. And then we went our separate ways. And I moved up here, and he stayed in our lives.
So lots of culture and music in there, right?
Yes.
When you married him, was he already the percussionist?
Yes, yes. I was working with them before we started dating. So
Wow.
yeah, I used to work for them, for the group.
Okay.
I did all their office work and their bookings, their travel arrangements.
So were you eyeing him while you were working?
Yeah,
Were you like checking him out and thinking,
No, I think he was more checking me out, girl.
I would not doubt that. I would not doubt that for 1 minute. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've been very blessed to have a lot of music in my family and my kids. My father he had a record shop in Pittsburgh back in the 50s, and prior to that he dated people like Billie Holiday, and himself and Nat King Cole were good friends. So I grew up with music, you know, hearing music as a little girl, and then to, you know, meet Irvin and have a relationship with another musician, and now Noah Lee, my granddaughter, her dad is a DJ, and she is just so musical. It's unbelievable. It's just in her blood. She can't help it. She knows every top 40 song and who sings it, all the artists, all the words. She knows everything, and she's only 6. So music is a part of our life, a big part of our lives.
Is she your only grandchild?
My one and only.
Yeah.
My little princess. Little princess.
My gosh. Were you worried? Were you concerned when you found out that you were going to be a grandmom?
Absolutely not. I was thrilled to death. As a matter of fact, on the day Rain had her, we were all in the hospital. We had music going. We were listening to Bob Marley, and we were all singing and trying to get her comfortable and relaxed and everything. And the doctor walked in and said, "Wow, I love this." And I know a man named Marley too, you know. I know, but he was a white man. I said, "Oh, don't you? What do you think Bob Marley's father was? He was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy."
Right.
So we were hanging out, we were chatting and having a good time. And when Noah started to come out, he said, "Come on, Grandma, put on your gloves. Put on your gloves." I was like, "Why?" He says, "Pull her out." So I actually pulled my granddaughter out.
Wow.
So when she's facing with me, I said, "Listen, Pitney, I pull you out, I can push you back in.
I can push you right back
No,
in.
we have a special bond, I think, because of that.
Wow.
I was the first one to touch her. I actually pulled her out.
Wow. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And she's my BFF.
Yeah, I could see that whenever I see you guys out and about. I see the closeness, I see the love. I'm like, and I'm actually get a little bit jealous because I'm like, oh my God, I need a grandchild. I want a grandchild.
You can borrow Noah sometimes. She's quite a handful. You can borrow her.
She's like an adult in a little person's body.
She is
Very smart.
Yeah, very smart.
And you're right. Every time I see her, she's either dancing or singing.
Yep.
So she does have that musical.
Yeah, it's in her blood. She can't help herself. She can't help herself.
That's great. Wow, welcome back, Miss Wilson.
Sorry, I was having a coughing spell. Just getting over a cold, so
Oh,
yes.
you are? Wow.
Yeah, too much partying, I think.
Right. That does it. That will do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, we've talked about your daughters. We've talked about your granddaughter. I think we also wanted to talk about your upcoming event this weekend.
The session continues. Yes. Well, as we spoke about music being such a big part of our lives, I love to have parties.
Yeah.
And I have 2 friends, Mark Swaby and Kevin Burt Green, who we've been having a few parties. We've had a couple now. We actually had one in Jamaica last year as well. We went down and did one in Jamaica. So we're doing one this Saturday night at the St. Benedict's Church Hall, and that is 7801 Northwest 5th Street in Plantation, the St. Benedict's Church Hall. It's a nice little hall. And there's no cover charge.
I was just going to ask you that.
There's no cover charge, but we are asking people to bring something for our friends in the Bahamas. And I know everybody can go in their closet and their kitchen cupboard and take out a can of corn or green peas, but they have they need other things as well. They need personal hygiene stuff. They need toiletries. They need baby things. They need diapers. They need sanitary napkins, things like that. So, you know, stop at the dollar store, pick up a few things, put them in a bag, and come on over to the party on Saturday night. Mark Swaby is playing, Kevin is playing. As we said, no cover charge. Refreshments will be on sale. I'm just gonna have a good time. I'm just gonna have a good time.
Can people pay some type of donation at the door, monetary wise?
If they wish to, they can do that.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yeah,
So I think we want to dive in. You have quite a history
Yes,
that
ma'am.
I think will be very beneficial to a lot of our viewers.
Okay.
Tell us about, you've had 2 battles with cancer.
Yes.
So let's start with the first one. When it took place, what kind of, I believe it was breast cancer, correct?
Yes.
So tell us about that. What was that like when you first found out? How did you find out? Were you getting checked regularly?
No, I wasn't. The last time I had been to the doctor was 4 years prior. This was in 2009. And I hadn't been to a doctor for 4 years. And my now husband, Norman, he kept, telling me, you need to go and have a checkup. When have you been to the doctor? You just need to go and get yourself checked.
Out of nowhere? He came up with that?
Out of nowhere. It was just,
Wow.
he kept saying you need to, go get your annual checkup. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. I'll make an appointment tomorrow. And every day he'd come home, have you made the appointment? No. Finally, I made the appointment. I went, had a full physical, and everything came back clear. And they called me to say, we have all your results, everything is clear, but we see a little spot, we just want to check it out. And so we did another mammogram, a diagnostic mammogram, and then they didn't like the spot again. It was abnormal, so they wanted to do a biopsy. And sure enough, I was diagnosed in October of 2009 with stage 1 breast cancer. The tumor was small and it was early, but it was a very aggressive type of cancer. I didn't know, there are 14 different types of breast cancer. And so mine was very aggressive. So I decided to just do a double mastectomy, get rid of everything. I did that. Luckily for me, I didn't have to do chemo. I didn't do any radiation. But they put me on a drug which is a very mild form of chemo. And I was on that for 6 years. And
I'm going to stop you for a second. You said you decided to do a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
Was that a tough decision?
No, yeah.
Did you know that like from the start when you found out, did you know that, undoubtedly this is what I want to do?
No, I didn't. At first they thought they could just do a lumpectomy,
Right.
which is what they did originally. Right. They did the lumpectomy and they sent the specimen to pathology, and it came back very aggressive. And they said they could treat it with radiation, they could probably do some chemo. And I had a very nice doctor, Jamaican woman. Her name was Margaret Gilo. She was married to a Haitian doctor. She's a Jamaican woman from Montego Bay. Margaret Thompson was her maiden name. So I asked her, a beautiful young woman, I said, what would you do?
Right.
And she said, that's a hard question for someone
is.
who knows all that I know and experience all that I've experienced. I said, well, what would you do? Try and answer it for me. She says, well, I have a young child and I want to see him grow up, so I would take them off. I said, well, let's go. Let's do it. I mean,
wow.
And it doesn't make sense keeping one and then you stay here like this, So I said, well, if you're going to take one, take them both. I don't want to have any part of it. So we did that, and it was several months before I started reconstruction.
Wow.
Because I had been a smoker all my life, all my adult life.
Wow.
And the plastic surgeon said, smokers as against non-smokers, how they heal is very different.
Yes.
You heal much easier and much better if you're a non-smoker. And he said he had a perfect record, and he wasn't going to let anybody spoil that.
Right.
Wow.
So he said, when you are free of smoking cigarettes for 6 months, come back to me and then we'll do reconstruction. He said, I know you're under stress, you need to smoke, go ahead and smoke. I'm not going to try and stop you. But when you're 6 months clean, then you come back to me and we'll do reconstruction. So I had to wait 6 months before he would touch me to do the reconstruction.
And you didn't think of using another doctor?
No, I trusted him.
Right.
I trusted him
You
wholeheartedly.
liked him, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, he said to me, he said, listen, if you came in here and put $25,000 on my desk and said, give me a facelift, and you were a smoker, I would tell you to take your money and go.
Which is a reason to trust him, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's not about the money, it's
Absolutely.
about the results and his
Absolutely.
patients. Nice.
So I went through that, but I never really, oh my God, why me, and am I going to die? And I don't know, I just had a very positive outlook on it. I was like, okay, well, you know, the kids were mortified, everybody was, oh my God. But after the initial shock wears off, you just learn to live with it, you learn to deal with it. And I found, I got very involved with people on a one-to-one basis, one-on-one. I would, you know, everybody knew Gina. Anybody who knew anybody with breast cancer, call Gina. She will talk to them. She will guide them. She will give them all the advice they need. And to this day, I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, not just advice. I understand you took them to actual visits, like went to the hospital.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you'd go to the doctor, and it's so overwhelming. All the information coming at you, and you know, you sit there listening to the doctor, and he's telling you all these things, and your mind is a model. And you come out of the doctor's office, and they say to you, "So what did the doctor say?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"I don't know."
And then some people are scared.
Exactly.
And
Don't
then
know what to
you
ask.
need someone
and-
calm that's
Yes.
been through it as well. Yeah.
So I would go and I'll take notes and then I'll, you know, kind of give them back to you in a way that you can understand it. And yeah, that's what I do. That's how I give back, you know. I don't believe in running or whatever for the cure because I think they have the cure. I know they have the cure. They must have the cure. But it's a money-making thing. So how I like to give back is to deal with people one-on-one. And then in February of this year, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. But before we get to that, can I just go back to the breast cancer
Yes.
and just say to everyone,
Yes.
know your body. I had no signs, I didn't feel any lumps or anything, I knew nothing. But if you know your body, if you examine your breast maybe once or twice a week in the shower, in case you know how it feels, so that if you do pick up something, you'll be like, what's this? You know?
Yeah.
If you don't feel yourself every day, you're not going to know when something happens. So do that, please, ladies. Just, you know, self-examine at least twice a week. Then when you go to the doctor, for whatever reason, ask them to do a breast exam for you.
Yeah.
And of course, once a year, treat you on your birthday or on your birthday time, treat yourself to a mammogram. Just because early detection is the key.
Yeah.
If you catch it early, it's certainly not a death sentence. A good friend of mine who is not far from me, I remember we were at church one day and he said to me, listen to me, girl, you have it, it doesn't have you. I wonder if he remembers.
I like that.
Yeah, you
I
have
like
it,
that. You
Yeah.
have it.
it doesn't have you.
you.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I am horrible at checking myself. In fact, I do not check myself.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you remind me because when you do go, they do tell you to do that.
Yeah.
But I try to religiously go and get my exams, especially if you have big boobs.
Yeah.
You have to. And I've been fortunate where they actually do the ultrasounds because
Yes.
when you have big boobs, apparently you have dense breasts as
They're
well.
very good, yeah.
So they do that, but very important to do it. So thank you for that.
And something very simple as taking vitamin D3. It's very simple, but it is very effective. They say they have 95% of women with breast cancer have a vitamin D3 deficiency.
Never knew that.
Yes.
Did not know
and
that.
65% of that 95, it's a very aggressive type of cancer. So, you know, pick up a bottle of vitamin D3.
D3. I have to start doing that.
D3.
then.
Very interesting. I never knew that. Never knew that.
So moving forward
Moving
to
forward
recent times, tell us about your most
How I
recent.
was diagnosed with
Yes.
lung cancer. So, late last year, I found myself having headaches, and I was saying, "Oh my gosh, I need to, it's time to have my glasses."
So this is how
No.
many years later?
This is 10 years later.
That's
So I've
10
been
years.
cancer free. I was cancer free. The breast cancer never came back. It's not the breast that had gone, that had metastasized to my lungs. This is a whole new
cancer. Did you have to go on any medication, tamoxifen or
Yes,
any?
I was on tamoxifen for 6
Uh-huh.
years, and that had many side effects.
Yes.
It made it gave you hot flashes, and I put on weight.
Weight gain, I've heard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had my eyesight was affected.
Wow.
My joints. I was like an old crippled woman.
So for 6 years you were on the tamoxifen, and did the doctors decide that it's time to come off of it?
Yes, they have a test now. They test your blood. It's a pretty expensive test, but they test your blood to find out if you would benefit from staying on it any longer.
Wow.
And I came back. I scored like a 9 out of 100. So he told me, "No, you failed miserably. It's one test in my life I was happy to fail."
Yeah.
So he said, "Yeah, I could come off."
So come off.
tamoxifen,
Wow,
thank
nice.
God.
Yeah.
So I was from then until just February of this year, I was cancer free. I was on nothing, just my vitamins, on my high blood pressure medication. That was it. But I was having these headaches, and I was saying, "Okay, I need to change my glasses." And then I started to feel a little, not dizzy, but just not steady. I would get up,
unbalanced,
just like, like my feet aren't planted firmly on the ground. I'm like, almost like you had a few too many to drink.
Like dizzy spells.
Not really, not dizzy.
Not
just
even?
not.
Just
You just didn't
unstable.
feel
Yeah.
sturdy, right? And then I mentioned to you one day we were up at Paula's house, and you said to me, "Gina, go check that out. That's not that doesn't sound."
And I
right."
remember she was moving, and you were planning to help her move.
Yes.
And when she told me Gina's coming the next day, I was sworn to secrecy by you because you're like, "Don't say nothing to Paula."
Yep.
So I was so glad when you told her yourself that you weren't feeling well.
Yes, I just was not
Yeah.
feeling right at all. And then I went to pick up something, and I just misjudged it. Like the motor skills in my left hand just stopped functioning properly. Then I was typing, and I'm a touch typist, so I can type without looking. And I was typing pure rubbish. It was like, what the hell?
Oh,
What
wow.
is this? And that's when I said, no, something is wrong. All of these things combined. I called my doctor and told her what happened. She said, "Go to emergency." I said, "Nope, that's a waste of time. I'm going to spend the whole day in there, and then they're going to give me a prescription." And said, "No." She said, "Well, calm down, and we'll order an MRI." And she took some blood, and she put in an order for the MRI. And the next day, she called Rain and said, "Take your mother to the emergency."
Yeah.
Right away. And she did. Rain said, "Mommy, come on, let's go." And she says, "Take her to Memorial West." And Rain said, "Well, we're closer to Cleveland." She said, No, Memorial West.
Okay, question. You could not pick up the glass, right?
Not that I couldn't pick it up, but when I went for it a couple
You
times,
kinda
I just
misjudged.
misjudged.
Yeah.
Like my hand.
And then you couldn't type. This happened in the same day, or was
Yes.
this happening? Wow.
Same day. Only to find out, fast forward a bit, that it was stage 4 lung cancer. When I went to emergency, I was admitted into the hospital. I stayed there for 4 days. They did several tests, and they came back and said, "You have lung cancer." And I said, "Okay, what stage?" They said 4. I said, "Oh, okay," because we all know that there are only 4 stages of cancer. So I said, "Okay, so what do we do? How do we get rid of
What's
this?"
next?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he said, "Well, the stages are according to how far the tumors have metastasized. And you have tumors on your brain, in your lung, on your brain, your spinal cord, and your adrenal gland." And I was like, "Oh dear, it's not a good thing." I said, "Okay, well, what are we going to do about it?" And he just said, "Well,
Rain was with you when they were giving you this news?
yeah, they were both with me. And they just...
Sky too?
No, sorry, Sky wasn't there yet. Rain was with me. And she just took a deep breath and took out her notebook, the teacher that she is, and just started
Okay,
making
let me
notes.
ask you something else. They're giving you this news, they're telling you all of this is going on bit by bit. Rain is sitting next to you.
Yeah.
At any point in time, did you and Rain look at each other?
Yeah, absolutely. When he said stage 4, I looked at her and she looked at me.
And then you just.
And I
went
just said,
home.
okay, all right, so how are we going to get rid of it? He said, well, stage 4 cancer patients don't usually get rid of cancer, but it is, we are going to attempt to bring it under control and to have it go into remission. I said, so what are we going to do? He says, well, the first thing we want to do, we're worried about the tumors on your brain. So we did another MRI. We found out there were 7 tumors on the brain. And I had a choice. I could do a full head radiation just on the whole scalp, or I could do cyberknife radiation. The full scalp meant it would definitely kill all the cells, the bad cells, but it would also damage a lot of my good cells. And it could have left me slurring or, with a distorted face. I was like, no, let's do the cyberknife. The cyberknife means it touches, it's guided by a, what do you call it? Just hit me. No, they guide, it's guided by, like, they're looking at it.
A scope, some type of scope.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they know exactly where the tumors are, and it's just cyberknife, it's just there, the cyberknife radiation. So I did 4 bouts of radiation on my brain over a period of, I think I went every twice a week for 3 weeks.
Radiation.
That was the cyberknife radiation. And then we started immunotherapy on the lungs. Now, immunotherapy it's administered like chemo, so it's intravenously administered. It's a drug, and what it does is the tumors have protein in them. Okay, it's very difficult.
I know.
to
I know
explain.
it is.
But it's a type of it's medication, and it's administered intravenously, and it builds up your immune system to recognize the bad cells and kill them.
Oh.
So it not only kills the bad cells that are in my lungs, but anywhere else. Because we found after a while I was having this horrible pain in my arm, and they kept giving me crap for it, tramadol and all kind of stupidness, and it just wasn't working. They eventually did an exam on it and found that the tumors were in the bone as well. So I did 10 bouts of radiation on my arm, 4 on the brain, and I am currently going through immunotherapy. And that's every 3 weeks, and that will be for maybe another year or so.
Every 3 weeks for how long? Like the immunotherapy? Every 3 weeks you go for a few hours, or
It pretty much takes up a good portion of a day. You go in the morning or whatever time your appointment is. You have to have blood work done. They check your levels, and then you see the oncologist, and then you go down to the treatment room where they put it in, and that part of it, that takes about 45 minutes. But the whole waiting to see the doctor, waiting to get the blood drawn, waiting for the doctor to get the results of the blood, you can just kill that day.
So Gina, take us back a little bit to the beginning. When Rain came in the room and she says, "Mom, I spoke to the doctor, we need to go to the emergency room right now." What did you feel then? What did you cry?
I cried.
Okay.
I cried because
you knew.
You knew something was wrong.
I knew, and I just knew.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I know. That's what it is. I know. But shortly after that, when I was told it was stage 4, I just knew also that I was going to pull through this. I knew. I didn't think. I suspect. I knew that God was putting me through this. This was a bigger journey than the first one. The first one was, I was in prep school. This was university.
Right.
And he said, "I'm putting you through this, my girl, because I want you to garner all the knowledge and experience that you can from it, because you're going to help other people with it."
Mm-hmm.
And so I've never doubted.
So I'm curious. Okay, so you have breast cancer, and you're doing your normal checkups or you're not doing checkups? Like, how do you get to stage 4? Like, there's a missing piece there.
No, well, you don't have, when you do a double mastectomy, you don't have mammograms after that.
Right.
But I had seen a doctor in October and November. I saw my breast oncologist in November. He checked me. He said, "You're good to go. See you next year." Because after you have breast cancer, for a while you see your doctor every 6 months and then every year. And so it was just a regular annual checkup with him. And he says, "You're good." I had just started a new doctor, so she sent all my lab work to him. He looked at it. He said, "You're good to go."
So based on what you know, how do you get to stage 4? Like, isn't there somewhere in between? Have you ever questioned, like, why would this not have been detected at stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 if you're going to a doctor regularly?
Because if they're not looking for lung cancer, they're not going to find it. Yeah. And that's what's so frightening.
Exactly.
Because prior to those headaches, that February, I was fine. I mean,
so between the time that you were diagnosed with stage 4 and the symptoms of the headaches, what type of time span are we looking at?
Well, no, I started having the headaches, and that's what sent me to the doctor.
Right, but the headaches came when and what?
The headaches, well, if I was diagnosed like the middle of February.
And the headaches came when?
Maybe about a month, for about a month I was having headaches.
Wow.
Maybe 3 weeks, a month.
So there was
and I kept
nothing prior that would have led to...
And if it hadn't reached my brain, I wouldn't have had the headaches.
Right. And nothing with your arm, anything before?
Well, I had that. I started having
the arm pain, but did you have any headaches before that?
No.
None?
No.
None? That is scary.
Yeah.
That is very scary.
Yeah.
So what advice, you've gone to the doctors so much, would you give people that are watching this?
Well, my kids, my 2 daughters, as I say, they are really the wind beneath my wings, if I can, borrow that phrase. And without knowing, because they have their own company, they're into mindfulness and leadership development and that sort of thing. And mindfulness is all about meditating, and it's a state of mind, and so they were getting me ready for this without me even realizing.
Yes.
The way you speak is, putting things out to the universe. I mean, something simple as if you say you're driving on the highway and it looks dangerous, and you say, "Oh God, don't let me have an accident, don't let me have an accident, don't let me have an accident." You're saying to the universe, accident.
Yes.
Another way of saying is, let me get home safely. Let me get home safely. Let me a positive way.
Yeah.
Don't put out the negative.
Yes.
And these are the things that the girls were just being around them and hearing how they speak, and how important it is to breathe when you get excited or anxious or upset about something. Take a deep breath and calm yourself. Sky taught me the 12 steps or something. You breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, release it in 4.
Wow.
And that one of the times I was lying down having the cyber knife, it was a 54-minute treatment, and you cannot move. And you're lying in this little thing, and you're restricted like this, and this thing is going around, and it's making a big noise, and you have to stay like this for 54 minutes. And I just started to panic. I was like, "Dear God, I want to get up. But I don't want to get up. I don't want to stop it because they're going to have to do it again." I just got. And then I remembered Sky saying 4 in, hold it for 4, and 4 out. And I started doing that. And I just calmed right down.
Yeah.
And I was able to manage that 54 minutes of not moving. Never mind, when you can't move, your nose itches, or your... Every time you can't move, something is itching. But I was able to breathe through it. So,
Wow. So it's kind of like an MRI. Like when you go in, is it an MRI that you go into this circular thing?
You don't go into that's the cyber knife. That's the cyber knife. And it's a big thing that goes around. You lie on this. I don't know why they don't make those things a little wider. You're like this on something, and they strap you down, and you can't move, and it's freezing cold. And but they have a skylight, and it looks like the sky, a beautiful bright sky. So
that's supposed to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the guy who does the machines came in and one day he said, "So Miss Alder, where are you?" I said, "Lord Master, I'm there at Hellshire Beach, and I have my red stripe beside me, and I have my girlfriend lying down on the beach." He says, "Very good, very good."
So you can speak while you're in there.
Well, once
moving.
they come out. They come
Okay.
out because the radiation, they can't be anywhere in the room. They have to go behind. But he
So
came
he's
in.
okay.
He came in before they started the radiation.
Okay.
You know, to make sure I was strapped and thing, and I was lying there and looking up. And he said, "So where are you?" I
Okay.
said, "God, my
So
love."
this was before.
And then one time the joke is they started one and they had to do it over. They called me back to do it because they asked you what kind of music you wanna hear.
Oh, nice.
So I said, "All right, this time, no, give me little chronics now." So I lie down in the thing and I start doing my feet to the music, not realizing, thinking as long as up here is they said, "You have to come back. You made
no
too
more
much
chronics.
And I'm like, "No more chronics for you." Yeah. So you have to take all the bad and make good out of it. I can tell you from my breast cancer experience, I am so blessed that I know how loved I am. Most people go to their grave not knowing. But between the breast cancer and this lung cancer, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. My friends put on a fundraiser for me a couple months ago, and it was a here and in Jamaica simultaneously. And you were able to come to the party in Florida and watch what was happening in Jamaica. And the two parties were ram-packed.
And Third World performed.
Absolutely. I got messages I got video messages from Shaggy, from Buju, from Taurus Riley,
Wow.
from who else?
Wow.
Everybody. I'm telling you, and I know I'm gonna get through this. I have to go and get treatment. I have to change my diet. That was a major part of the recuperation.
Your diet.
My diet, because I used to be a Pepsi Craveney girl. Give me a Pepsi and a Craveney and I'm good to
Really?
go. What? Yeah, man.
So Gina, tell us,
Wow.
why did you handle things so calmly? Like a lot of people, having gone through breast cancer, now being diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4, a lot of people are going to get depressed. A lot of people don't have a support system, which you have with your daughters. You have a beautiful granddaughter as well that gives you, there are certain things that encourage you in life, right? As a mom, I'm thinking, I couldn't give up because I have my kids, right? What are some of the things, besides an entire community, Jamaica and Florida and probably around the world supporting you, what gives you that strength to say, I can't give up? Are there days that you're down?
There are days that I'm down, but I don't give up because of my faith.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a church going, fanatic, but I'm a Christian and I believe in God and I know He's with me and I know if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly it, Gina.
But
if it's my time, it's my time. But right now I feel like if I'm supposed to be here still.
Exactly. I know there's more work for me to do.
Yes.
I know He has a lot more work for me to do, and I anxiously await further instructions. I am just going through the motions. I make my notes. I make, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. And there are days when you say, boy, your back starts to hurt you because the lung, it's in your lungs, so it's hurting you in your back, and you can't eat the whole heap of sugar, and you can't drink your coffee the way you like it, and you can't drink no more alcohol no more. What's the use? But you come right back. You come right back, and maybe Noah Lee will walk in that day and say, "Hi, Nana, how you feeling today?" And it's all over.
Exactly.
You just know that. Well, this is why I gotta fight it.
Yeah.
Right. And just so people understand, what you went through and to be so positive, it's like, to add to that, like your daughters lost their dad.
Oh my goodness.
6 months later, you were diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. I can't imagine, like, as a family, the strength of
And
you
let
all
me tell
pulling
you,
together.
Those two girls, I used to tell everybody, we used to go to the doctor and I'd say, excuse my pit bulls. These are my pit bulls. Because they don't play.
Yeah.
And Sky whip out the notebook and Rain asking questions and they're so aggressive and this is their mother they're talking about, don't play with her. And, you know, I'm so blessed with them, you know. And they went through between, Irving died in July, and then another very, very dear family friend of ours died in August, and then in February I was diagnosed with the cancer. And I can't even imagine what they went through, because they never once showed me that they were tired or down, or they were just always, okay, mommy, what next? Or come on,
they were ready.
Always
they
ready.
were ready. Yeah.
Even though I know there must have been, they must have cried.
Yes,
there were times when they were weak and they were, you know, they needed a hug, or but let me tell you, they have been there for me, and they continue to be there for me. I'm blessed. I can't tell you how blessed I am. I cannot tell you how blessed I am.
So they changed your diet completely?
Completely. No sugar, no rice, no flour, no pasta, no nothing. They had me on an 80% plant-based diet. No pork, no red meat, no chicken. If I had fish, it was only a little bit. It had to be very deep sea fish. And the vegetables had to be mostly raw. So for the first month after being diagnosed, and they watched everything that I put in my mouth. They looked at everything in my plate. I couldn't cheat. I couldn't thief and have a little.
Let me ask you something though. Seriously, at that point in time, did you want to cheat?
Of course.
Really?
I would want to cheat too.
Listen to me.
Because you're used to it.
Listen.
Let me tell you something. I am a big coward. You diagnosed my backside with stage 4 cancer. Give me everything I'm supposed to eat, and I will eat it, because I'm a coward. I just don't even want to chance eating a piece of pigtail, and I love my pigtail. I love my pork.
Well, that was me. I loved my coffee.
Oh God, with sugar and cream. Same here. Same
So
here.
I just stopped having coffee. I said, if I can't have it the
if
way,
I have to drink it black, why?
But that same male friend of mine, God bless him. I tell you, I am blessed with my friend.
People.
He's my second husband, and his first wife is sitting right over there. It's close by me. Without them, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do without them. But he brought a friend over to see me who is a holistic doctor, a Jamaican guy who was a full-fledged doctor but became a holistic doctor, you know. And so he came to spend half an hour with me and ended up spending almost 4 hours. So he was telling me what to eat and what not to eat and things to do and that sort of thing. And he said, I'm not going to tell you to stop eating everything you like, because if you do that to yourself, you're going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated, depressed, and your body is going to produce negative hormones. Him say, but why can't you have the coffee with 1 spoon of sugar and 1 spoon of cream? I said, I don't want it if we can't. He said, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Just go make a cup of coffee right now with 1 of each. 1 spoon of sugar, 1 spoon. And I did, and I was like, not so bad. So when I really want a cup of coffee, I will have it. And I'm like, Tiffany, instead of having 1 spoon of cream, I have 1.5. But for the most part, it was the diet. It was the diet. It was the love and support of my children and my friends. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. When I had breast cancer, Sky arranged a prayer call one night. And we had her best friend at the time, his husband was a minister. And we had 67 people on the phone praying for me at one time. It was the night before my surgery, and I was deathly afraid. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'm going into the hospital tomorrow for them to cut off my 2 breasts, and I was like, and Sky had this call. When I got off of that phone that night, I bawled like a baby on the phone, you know. But when I got off, I was like, I can move mountains. because so many people had lifted me up in prayer at one time. You couldn't mess with me that night. I was ready to rock the world.
Right.
Ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're getting the love of family, the love of prayers, the belief in prayers, belief in yourself actually,
Absolutely.
because it takes a lot of self-belief. So your courage as a woman is shining through, and you're making a difference to people that are watching it, because you're sharing your story, your journey, which we all have one, but yours is just phenomenal because it's one of such devastation, but you've not given up hope. And you're giving people hope to say, if I'm ever faced with a challenge, you've been faced with it twice.
Call me.
Yeah.
If you're ever faced with a challenge, call me.
Surround yourself with, there's so many different ways to do it with love and strength and courage. So thank you.
Thank
I want to talk about Trinkets by Gina.
Oh, okay. So Trinkets by Gina came about. Well, you know, I used to do events. I used to do weddings and parties and big things and go to Jamaica and do weddings and so on. I was very labor intensive. And so I eventually gave that up, and I found I used to just like to play around with little things, and I started to work on bracelets, and they started taking off. Everybody would see me with them and like them and make one for me now, make one for me now, can you make one? I want one of those. And so I got into Trinkets by Gina, and I put that on I have it on Facebook. And then Sky, the businesswoman, she says, no, mommy, you're giving away your product. We need to, do you even know how much it costs to make one? I said, no. And when we worked it out, I actually was selling them for less than what it cost me to make them.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had no idea. I was just making them because it was fun. I had nothing else to do.
Like them.
And people like them, so I just make them, and buy the things to make them. And she says no. So she's regulated my work now, and we're working on a website. And we have an Instagram page, which I don't know how to work, but it's Blessing Beads by Gina. And so I have Trinkets by Gina on Facebook and Blessing Beads by Gina on Instagram. And I see Cheryl is wearing some of my stuff. And so are you.
Yes, absolutely.
I love her stuff. It's beautiful.
Yes, those are
beautiful.
my Ethiopian crosses.
Yes.
And these are actually beads from Ghana. They're called Kente Krobo beads, and they're made from people in the Krobo Mountains.
I love them.
in
I've been
Ghana.
checking them out ever
Yes.
since
Oh,
they've
wow.
been here.
Yes,
Wow.
and therefore they make this color is made for the elders of their tribes, and then they have white for protection and red for ceremonial things and different colors. So I'm getting into, I started with all kind of little cheapy stuff, but I'm really trying to get into the real crystals, the real gemstones that have healing properties or have some kind of positive meaning and give, because a lot of them do give energy and have all sorts of healing properties.
And for those of us that live in South Florida, you are you attend and support a lot of your friends' functions as well, and also people can purchase them there. I know I got this at Shaq's Hope this weekend as well. From Andrea Hall, Fandangles.
Fandangles,
And I know you attend some other friends as well. So link up Gina on that, and also on the Caribbean Edge, because we'll post and share your links as well on our page.
Well, and thank you for mentioning Shaq's Hope, because that is one of the two nonprofits that I'm very attached to, and I feel very strongly about those two. It's the Shaq's Hope Foundation and the Lisa Bocard Foundation. Lisa Bocard is actually a lady who lives in Coral Springs who has a very, very rare breast cancer. She has to be on chemo for the rest of her life, and her family started a foundation called the Lisa Bocard Foundation. She puts on a big tea party every October. She does various fundraisings throughout the year, but her what she tries to focus on is early detection, mammograms. So people who don't have insurance and can't afford to do a mammogram, they can get in touch with the Lisa Bocard Foundation, and there's a little screening that's done, and then if you qualify, they'll pay for your mammogram for you.
Wow, good
So
to know.
yeah, Lisa is a
ladies.
great
Very
lady.
good to
Love
know.
her, the Lisa Bocard Foundation. So we do. I'm actually going to do a work on a fundraiser for her with her next year. So that's Lisa, and then of course there's Shaq's Hope, which is Andrea Fandangles Hall. her foundation that she started for her daughter who died from sickle cell, and the focus on that foundation is awareness, sickle cell awareness, because so many people don't know what it is. You know,
have no idea what it is. They have no idea how to detect it.
right.
So awareness on the
Yes.
whole.
And September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month
yes,
as well.
Exactly.
And Shaq's Hope is in honor of Andrea's daughter, Shakira Martin.
my little niece, my pretty little niece. God bless her.
Beautiful soul.
So, wow, we have not even looked at any comments because it's been such an interesting show. So, Joan says, Gina, that's my story about making things and giving away, and then the daughter steps in and turns it into a business, which is baking the real Jamaica rum cake.
Oh, okay.
So Joan's one of our weekly viewers. She will cut her jogging short just to come tune into the Caribbean Edge. So we're glad your daughter did the same thing too.
That's
and
right.
make sure that you're profiting from that, Joan. And Alika said,
That's Willie Stewart from Third World's daughter. Alika.
Auntie Gina, such an inspiration. I love you.
Love you too, baby girl.
And the power of prayer will do it every time. Yes, Joan. And Scotty, Gina, one of my best friends from JC, just got diagnosed with cancer today. What should I say to him? Thanks for that question, Scotty.
Scotty, you know my phone number. Give it to him.
But not just for Scotty, for other people that may be listening that may have just been diagnosed or know someone that's been diagnosed recently. What would you say to them at this point?
I would tell them first thing they need to do is cut sugar out of their diet. Because some doctors will disagree with me, but I think many studies have been done to prove that sugar feeds cancer. When you do a PET scan and they inject you with a dye, it is a sugar-based dye. And so wherever the cancer is in your body, that dye will go to that part of your body and the screen will light up. That's how a PET scan is done. So I know sugar and cancer go hand in hand. So the first thing you do is cut the sugar out of your diet. I don't mean just sugar. I mean anything that has sugar or anything that breaks down into sugar, like starch and pasta and rice and anything white flour, white sugar, all of that. I know, girl, I know.
I haven't been diagnosed with anything, and I am a sugar lover. But having you on the show tonight makes me know I need to cut back on all
and take
the
your D3,
sugar
vitamin D3.
And my D3. Yes, I wrote that one down.
And just what else to tell somebody? Just breathe, stay positive, keep the negative vibes away, keep the negative people away. Oh Lord, I'm so sorry. A friend of mine, brother, just dead from. I don't need to hear those people. I don't need those people around me.
Yeah.
I know you mean well and all of that, but please, just keep your vibes positive. Pray to God, ask Him for guidance. You'll get it. Believe me, you'll get it. Change your diet and talk to your doctor. And really and truly, if you want to get in touch with me, hook me up on Facebook and, we'll talk. I'm not an expert, but I've been through it twice, and I know there are certain things I can share with you, and my life is an open book. My children will tell you, I'll go out and meet somebody who just had breast cancer too, and I'm willing to go into the bathroom and lift up and show them what mine looks like, and as long as it can help you in some way, That's what it is. I'm there for you.
So, we're probably going to have a part 2 of this because we're at the hour now. So, we're going to end for right now, but we'll be back with part 2 another day.
Absolutely.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of The Caribbean Edge. We want to thank our special guest, Gina, for joining us. I mean, you're amazing, phenomenal, and I personally can't thank you enough because I think you're changing lives by sharing your story.
Thank you.
You absolutely
Thank
are.
you.
And that is there's nothing that can measure that. You're just phenomenal for coming on and sharing that with us so openly and so honestly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any parting words?
Your story is your glory. I read that today.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's so
And
cool.
I fell in love with it because it's so true. We all have a story to tell, and I truly believe that our story, it's our glory. And you, without a doubt, every time I talk to you, every time I listen to anything that you have to say, that phrase that I saw, I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect for Gina. Your story is your glory.
Thank you. So
Thank
stay
you,
tuned.
ladies.
We'll be back.
And come to the party on Saturday night at St. Benedict's Church Hall in Plantation, 7801 Northwest 5th Street. No cover charge, just bring something for our Bahamian friends. And come hang out with me. If I don't know you, come and make a meet you. Peace and love.
Ciao
Thanks
for now.
again. Ciao for now.